Welcome back to Where Canaries Walk. Is the criticism for Hoftorup fair? Plus, Sunderland fans saying Sainz was a cheat and an absolute disgrace in the performance at the Stadium of Lights. We'll get the Canaries' balanced view on that. And after having seen all the teams, who's finishing top and bottom, we've got Cillian, Oliver and Jacob back with us. And thank you very much for all the support you've given us. We know there are tons and tons of other well-established Norwich podcasts. This is just 10 minutes a week reviewing everything that's gone on with Norwich. So thank you for giving us your time. We'd be very grateful if you can drop us a comment to these debates down there. 3 debates, 10 minutes. Let's go, Cillian. Quite honestly, is the criticism that Hoftorup's been receiving online justifiable?
I don't think so. I mean, it's early days from everybody makes mistakes, but I don't think there's any major mistake. I mean, once they go over that white line, it's the players that have to deliver. I think he's got a decent squad. He's assembled. His style. He's trying to get them to play is good. So I think he needs more time.
Thank you. Let's look at some of the negative ones. We'll look at the positive ones in a minute, I promise. John says, I'm getting bored of his excuses. Nothing changes. He's not got a clue. Graham says 6 wins from 22 games, Oliver. How much longer can we hide behind the alibi of transition? It's wearing thin. And Martin says, you're out of your depth. Let's have an English manager like Robbins or Martin before it's too late. I didn't think we'd be here this soon, Oliver, but we are. Where do you stand on it?
I think those are very harsh critics, to be fair. I think the fact that we have only won 6 in 22, that's the only sort of concerning point for me. Because ultimately that is probably relegation form. However, look, I said I'm going to continue saying this, but we have to give him time. You can see he's trying to implement his style, and getting rid of him now, that would just be ridiculous. This is going to take 2 or 3 seasons. You know, we can't just expect it to just happen like that. So I think going for an English manager like Robbins, that'd be. I could just not imagine that happening. That'd be so wrong. Yeah.
On the flip side of it, Jacob Ryan says, wanting Thorup out, seriously, give your heads a wobble. Are you realistically thinking it's going to happen this season? We've got a new manager, new owners, a new sporting director, a squad that needs a few windows to be fixed. Jesus Christ, people are expecting instant success. This isn't Thorup's fault. It was always going to be a mid-table average season. He needs to see what he's got to work with and what he needs. Josh says, I'm not saying sack the manager, but his tactics, his lineups and subs have been poor for months now. He is not immune from criticism. Is that last post, Jacob, a fair assessment?
Yeah, I'd agree with it. Definitely. It's a 3-year project, as I think has been mentioned before, and we need to get rid of a few deadwood that's hanging around in our team, like Ashley Barnes, for example, not playing at all. Tony Springer, he ain't great. And just give the manager like 2 windows, see what it's like January and next summer, see if he does anything with his new style of play, and see where it takes us from there.
Cheers for that, Jacob. What would you say is the percentage split at the moment then of people saying Thorup out? Is it 10% versus 90 saying shut up?
10%, 5% even.
Yeah, we're not hearing it, or certainly not hearing it in the stands. We're talking about the Sun. This is on the back of the Sunderland result, Cillian, of course, who are a good side, and you went ahead in that game as well. But what happened for you in that game?
Yeah, for me, I mean, that first half is probably the best I've seen us play away from home. I think we've had a problem away all season. I thought our midfield looked particularly good in the first half. I think conceding, I mean, our problem has been maintaining a lead. We've dropped a lot of points from leading positions, and it was a sucker punch to concede a goal so early in the second half. I listened to Niall Quinn being interviewed at half time, and like he was talking about how poor it was, and Sunderland looked very average in that first half, I thought. And obviously the sending off of Cordoba didn't help with the second goal. But we just didn't create the chances in the second half. So that consistency has been lacking.
Yeah, Oliver, some Norwich fans are saying the FA have got it in for Norwich at the moment with referees, and of course all that QPR game continues to produce retrospective bans. Do you jump on board with this conspiracy theory at the moment that Norwich are a bit hard done to?
I do think we are hard done by, but I mean, Cordoba, to be fair, what is he doing for that yellow card? He's just going straight in. And I think that's partly why we lost the game. It's silly decision making, just no discipline, sort of. He went completely flying in, and I don't know what he was expecting, really. So I would say that the FA, maybe they're harsh, but I think he had to go for that.
Okay. Our second debate is about Borja Sainz. So we spoke to our Sunderland fans, Jacob. By goodness, they were not impressed with his antics. It said it went beyond the dark arts, what he was trying to do throughout the whole game. Do you have any problem with how he conducted himself?
I think he's just gotten used to being like the best one on the pitch. I think he's a bit full of it, and we see it when he's like not doing well. I think it was the Burnley game. He kicked the advertisement board, and then he flops around on the floor like he's Neymar. I've heard people say that. QPR was one good example where he was just completely out of it. So yeah, we just need to hope he gets back on form and does what he does best. But yeah, it's not looking good.
Cillian, what's wrong with him at the moment? Is he bothered about a transfer move? I think that's in his head.
Possibly. I mean, the funny thing is I saw him get off the bus, and he was the first player off the bus this time, which I've never seen before, so whether that means anything. He seems to have not been great the last few games. And, I think he has been singled out by teams. And his overacting maybe hasn't helped him. But I think he was kicked off the park a good few times. And he overreacted and didn't get the sympathy of the ref. But they definitely picked on him, and that happened in the last couple of games.
Okay. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do so. We really appreciate all the love that we've had so far. 2 debates down, 1 to go, Oliver. Before we do, the word relegation has crept into Norwich tweets for the first time since this season kicked off. I mean, you are 8 points clear of the drop. But I'll ask you anyway. There is not a chance that Norwich are going to get dragged into a relegation battle in the second half of the season, is there?
You'd hope not, but at this moment in time, you have no clue with Norwich. I mean, if we continue this form, then as I sort of alluded to earlier, we could honestly be down there. But I think if we do go in relegation battle, then Hoftorup seriously is going to be questioned in the second half of the season. But I truly believe that end of the year we're going to kick on, win a couple of games, and I think we're going to be pushing for playoffs towards the end of the season.
I mean, we've got to remember, haven't we? Cheers, Ollie, Jacob. You've had no Sargent for most of the year. You've had a player that's now missing 8 games through suspension. Other players that you would have other first teamers injured. So you've probably had one of the worst seasons for injuries and suspension. So can we put a little bit of this onto that? Or is that an excuse?
Yeah, it definitely leaves a gap in the team. If one player's absent for one game and then you've got another one the following game, then one comes back, it's just a lot of confusion for the team. Like we had Sargent, Gunn and Nunez out at one point, which is just a complete mess. And then we see how important McLean is for the team, and having him out for like 8 games now or something is just ridiculous.
Cillian, you're not going down, are you?
I wouldn't have thought so, no. I think we do have a good run in the new year, and even over Christmas. I think, as I said, the team looked pretty good in the first half against Sunderland. It made them look very average, and I think this championship is very tight, and then up or down, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the last time we'll have a relegation chat on this particular channel. Right then, you've played nearly every team now. Then, so it's well enough to ask you for your opinions on who the best and who the worst team you've played is. We don't want your predictions for who's going up and who's going down, but we want you to let us know who's impressed you the most and who you thought you could have not ate past. Oliver, you kick this off for us. Who's the best team you played for? You played against? You thought, yeah, we struggled to cope with them.
It's hard because I did think Sheffield United were very impressive early on in the season, but we actually didn't play too bad against them. It is tough though. I would say either them or I think Burnley. Once Burnley sort of settled into the game, I thought they looked really quite quality and quite sharp. So I'd say either of them two really.
Yeah. Jacob, who's the worst side that you've watched that you thought you could have easily put more past?
Plymouth, definitely Plymouth. They came into the game without a formation like it was, and then we had so many chances in the first half to go 3-0 up, and then we managed to smack them 6-1, which is an understatement. Should have been 10-1, but yeah, it was a horrible team. They were.
Okay, Cillian, you've been to every game, home and away, this season, so you've sat and watched all these teams live. Who's been the best and worst for you?
I think best, even though I don't like saying it, was probably Leeds. I think we were lucky to get our draw against them. I thought they looked. Most games we've been unlucky a few games, but that one we were lucky. And I think the worst, I'd agree with Jacob, Plymouth. I think we're horrible.
Okay, all right. If you can beat any of that or want to comment on that, please do so below, and also talk to us about Hoftorup. We want to see some Hoftorup love in the comments as well. If you've been enjoying his football, let us know. Finally, our last message is to thank all of you guys and Matt and Owen and others that have helped us grow this channel from the very start, and thank you very much, of course, for putting it where it is as well. We're wishing all of you watching and our team a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a prosperous one and spending it with your friends and family, and we'll see you in 7 days' time when we're going to look back on 2024 and review all things Norwich then. See you in 7 days' time. Merry Christmas, everyone.